We've seen a bunch of great teams in the MLB over the years, but some have managed to set themselves a degree apart from the others. In today's video, we'll be looking at some of the greatest teams across MLB history, and without a doubt, it's fair to say the competition is extremely fierce. Stay tuned to see if your favorite team managed to make it to the list. Starting off on number 14 is the 1989 Athletics. This club had all the makings of an all-time great, even if they only managed 99 victories during the regular season. Remember that while Oakland made 3 straight visits to the World Series, this was the A's sole championship. Power was provided by Mark McGwire and Dave Parker. In the postseason, Rickey Henderson was extremely brilliant and supplied speed. On the hill, Dave Stewart had a 21-game winning streak. Mike Moore and Storm Davis each had 19, and Dennis Eckersley had 33 saves. This was a complete club, and the postseason showed it as Oakland swept the Giants and won the World Series in 5 games, followed by the 1968 Tigers at number 13. Denny McLain had a great year in 1968, winning 31 games and recording a 1.96 ERA to win the Cy Young and MVP awards. The remainder of Detroit's rotation was excellent this season as well, setting the bar for a group that finished the regular season with 103 victories. The 1968 Tigers weren't very impressive offensively, despite having 3 players with at least 25 home runs and Hall of Famer Al Kaline sitting on the bench. The Tigers also overcame a 3-1 deficit against a St. Louis squad that had won the World Series the year before. The 1968 Tigers are now considered to be among the top MLB teams of all time because of the victories in Games 6 and 7 on the road. Next up, number 12 is the 1995 Braves. The Braves would probably have more teams included among the greatest MLB teams ever if they've been able to win more titles during their incredible run in the 1990s. But the 1995 Atlanta Braves were the ones that prevailed. Even though they only managed to win 90 games during the regular season, they were on track to win 101 if the strike hadn't cut the season short. With Greg Maddux enjoying an outstanding season, going 19-2, with a 1.63 ERA in 10 complete games, Atlanta's rotation naturally took the lead. To complement a deep and well-matched lineup, Tom Glavine and John Smoltz both had successful seasons. Additionally, this squad went 11-3 in the playoffs. Moving on to number 11 is the 1969 Mets. Despite being dubbed as the Miracle Mets, this team's season was anything but miraculous. The club had a youthful Nolan Ryan, while Tom Seaver and Jerry Koosman combined for 42 victories with ERAs under 2.30. The Mets defeated the Orioles in 5 games to win the World Series and then swept the Braves in the National League Championship Series thanks to some outstanding pitching. Remember that the 1969 Mets were remarkable because the Orioles seemed unbeatable and won 109 games throughout the regular season. At number 10 is the 1967 Cardinals. The 1967 Cardinals had it all thanks to Hall of Famers Bob Gibson, Steve Carlton, Lou Breck, and Orlando Cepeda. Tim McGarver, Curt Flood, and other players had outstanding seasons in addition to Brock and Cepeda, but Cepeda won MVP this year. Dick Hughes outpitched Carlton and Gibson this year on the mound. The Cards eventually finished with 101 victories, and even though it took 7 games, they defeated the Red Sox to win the World Series. Up next on number 9 is the 2018 Red Sox. The 2018 Red Sox were the finest of Boston's championship teams, winning 108 games in the regular season. Along with J.D., Mookie Betts earned the MVP and battling crown. Martinez came in second to him in terms of batting average. Chris Sale especially was a standout pitcher for the squad, but it was Boston's lineup that caused so much difficulty for the opposition. The Red Sox went 11-3 in the postseason after dominating the regular season, defeating 3 top-tier opponents, including 2 other squads with at least 100-win seasons. Following up at number 8 is the 1939 Yankees. Due to the fact that it was Lou Gehrig's last season, this was one of the best Yankees teams in history. Even though Gehrig was out for most of the season, players like Joe DiMaggio and Charlie Keller both had exceptional campaigns, with DiMaggio batting .381 won with 30 home runs. They defeated the Reds in the World Series by a score of 20-8 after winning 106 games during the regular season, giving them a 17-game lead in the pennant race. At number 7 on the list is the 1976 Reds. Although the second half of Cincinnati's back-to-back championship teams was also one of the finest MLB teams ever, everyone believes that the club was superior the following year. Great seasons were enjoyed by Joe Morgan, Pete Rose, Ken Griffey, and others. The 1976 Reds, who'd won 102 games in the regular season, swept the Phillies and Yankees to become the first and only team since the introduction of divisional play to go unbeaten in the postseason. Plus, at number 6 on this list is the 1927 Yankees. The 1927 Yankees not only had one of the finest seasons in team history, but also became the second team in franchise history to win the World Series. This was the first squad whose starting lineup went under the moniker Murderers Row. Lou Gehrig hit .373 with 47 home runs, and Babe Ruth hit .356 with 60. 4 more players for the Yankees that season, in addition to those 2, hit over .300. The team's pitching was superior to most people's expectations. The 1927 Yankees won 110 games because of this pitching and hitting balance, and despite some close games in the World Series, they swept the Pirates in 4 games. Following up on number 5 is the 1998 Yankees, the first of 3 consecutive Yankee teams to win the World Series. This squad was maybe the finest of all time and the best of the lot, with 6 players hitting at least 19 home runs and 4 daily players batting .300 or more. The lineup was as deep and well-balanced as they come. 5 starting pitchers had at least 12 victories, including David Cone, who had 20 victories. This club maintained its dominance throughout the whole season, winning 114 games. They went 11-2 in the postseason and swept the Padres in 4 games, scoring twice as many runs as they did in the process. Next at number 4 on the list is the 1986 Mets. The bizarre Game 6 finish in 1986, in which the Mets were 1 out away from losing, is what most people remember, but they managed to pull off that comeback to win the series, adding to their reputation as one of the greatest MLB teams in history. The Mets ultimately won the division by 21.5 games, and so the NL East was essentially decided by June. The starting lineup lacked many superstars, but it was deep and the bench provided a ton of support. In addition, they had 4 pitchers with an ERA under 3.00 in Bob Ojeda, Ron Darling, and Dwight Gooden, who each won at least 15 games. Of course, the 1986 Mets had to come back from a 2-0 series disadvantage to win 2 exciting and historic postseason matches. They were undoubtedly one of the most complete teams in Major League history, but they also walked a fine edge between winning a title and not. Then at number 3 on the list is the 1970 Orioles. The Orioles of 1969 had lost the World Series, but in 1970, Baltimore was determined to win. While Frank Robinson and Boog Powell commanded a potent offense, 3 members of the pitching staff together won at least 20 games. The Orioles won 108 games, pulled away from the AL East with a 15-game lead, and no other club stood a chance. Following that, Baltimore easily defeated the Reds in 5 games after outscoring them 27-10 over the course of 3 games against the Twins. Moving to the second best team on the list, 1975 Reds. Cincinnati won the World Series in back-to-back seasons for the first time, and they were far better the following year. They became one of the greatest MLB teams ever after compiling the second-best home record in Major League history. Joe Morgan, Pete Rose, and 3 pitchers who each won 15 games helped the Reds win 108 games overall. Despite being pushed by the Red Sox to 7 games in the World Series, they finished the season with a 20-game lead in the NL West and went on to win the title. Taking up the number 1 spot on the list is the 1961 Yankees. The 1961 Yankees squad stands out as one of the greatest MLB teams ever among all of the championship teams in franchise history for the Yankees. The majority of fans recall this as the year when Roger Maris hit 61 home runs, breaking the single-season record. It's clear from Maris's 142 RBIs and Mickey Mantle's 54 home runs and 128 RBIs how deadly the New York lineup was this year. The Yankees finished the season with 109 victories despite a lackluster start, winning at least 20 games in each of the months of June, July, August, and September. Prior to dispatching the Reds and winning the World Series in 5 games, they had to fend off another American League club with 100 victories. Well, that's a wrap for this video, so which MLB team is your favorite? Do comment down below and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos videos just like this. We'll see you on the next one.